I'm ready. February 24, 2026, Lowell City Council meeting come to order. Prayer. Dear God, today as this session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Counsel Robinson.
Here.
Counsel Rourke.
Here.
Counsel Scott.
Here.
Counsel Chow.
Here.
Counsel Dakota.
Here.
Mayor Gitchia.
Here.
Counsel Duran.
Here.
Counsel Liang.
Here.
Counsel McDonough.
Here.
Counsel Mercia.
Here.
Counsel Nuon.
Here.
11 present.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Moment of silence, Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to offer a moment of silence in Docking Chamber for John D. Parent, Jr., devoted husband for over 61 years to Joanne Rogers Parent. John was a graduate of Littleton High School, class of 1958. John was very proud to be a veteran of the United States Air Force. He was stationed in Montgomery, Alabama, and became a medical technician at Gunter Air Force Base. He was later transferred to Hanscom Field and served as a medic at the 3,245th U.S. Air Force Dispensary. He was honorably discharged in 1963. His career spanned over 60 years in sales and ended his career as an independent sales representative with Future Supply Corporation in Londonderry, New Hampshire. He was a car enthusiast. He belonged to the Spindle City Corvette Club during the years he owned a 1963 Corvette and loved attending car shows. It was said that he never met a car he didn't buy. His greatest joy and source of pride was his family. John is survived by his daughter, Dr. Leah Geary, and her husband, Attorney Michael Geary, our city clerk, his son, Dr. J. Daniel Parent, and his wife, Dr. Donna Parent, 4 grandchildren, a great-granddaughter. We offer our sympathy to his family, relatives, and his many friends. I would also like to offer a moment of silence in Docking Chamber to all those who passed away since our last City Council meeting. May they all rest in peace. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Mercia. Please dim the lights.
Thank you, Counselor.
2, Mayor's Business. 2.1, Communication Remote Zoom Participation. Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Dakota, seconded by Councilor Chow. 2.2, Citation. Pastor Dwayne Wheeler. Councilor Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, part of every month, Black History Month, I try to honor and recognize pillars of the community, members of the community that give back tirelessly and are everyday living examples of someone that the community can look up to and appreciate for all that they contribute. Tonight is no different, and it's my honor to read this citation on behalf of my colleagues and the mayor. Be it hereby known to all that the City of Lowell and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Pastor Dwayne Wheeler in honor of Black History Month. The City of Lowell recognizes Pastor Dwayne Wheeler, born in Honolulu, Hawaii, and is a current resident of Lowell. Through his compassion for service, community, and giving back, exemplifies the spirit of Black History Month. Pastor Wheeler is the son of the late Pastor Thaddeus Wheeler and Mother Michelle Wheeler. Their example laid the foundation for his spiritual journey and instilled in him a deep reverence for ministry, family, and community. Pastor Wheeler was ordained in Little Rock, Arkansas, under the leadership of the late Bishop L.T. Walker, a man he deeply admired. Throughout his ministry, Pastor Wheeler has served in numerous leadership capacities and has been actively engaged in community-based initiatives. During his tenure with the Boston 10-Point Coalition, he dedicated himself to mobilizing the Christian community on behalf of Black and Latino youth at high risk for violence, substance abuse, and other destructive behaviors. His work helped strengthen local churches and build meaningful partnerships with both public and private institutions. He also served as the former vice president of Merrimack Valley NAACP, continuing his advocacy for justice and equality. In recognition of his ongoing commitments to urban ministry and community transformation, Pastor Wheeler was honored as a recipient of the 2025 Kojic Urban Initiatives Impact Award, a distinction that celebrates leaders who demonstrate exceptional service, innovation, and compassion in urban communities. Pastor Wheeler is married to Stacy Vaughn Wheeler since 2013, a woman of God who faithfully serves alongside him as they build the ministry entrusted to their hands. Together, they share a blended family of 8 children, 3 granddaughters, and 1 grandson, each a testament of the beauty of family. Therefore, I, on behalf of Mayor Eric Gitchia and on behalf of the entire City Council and residents of Lowell, hereby extend our deepest appreciation, and we're proud to honor and recognize Pastor Dwayne Wheeler for his service and perseverance to the community, offering our gratitude and best wishes for good health and happiness, given this 24th day of February 2026.
Pastor Wheeler.
Good evening, and I'd first like to thank the Almighty God. Go try not to cry, but if anybody knows me, knows that I'm gonna cry. I'd like to give honor to the Almighty God who has given us this opportunity to stand here today. I want to thank the our mayor, and this city council and all of the elected officials that saw fit to honor me on today. I also would like to thank God for the wife for life, my wife, Lady Stacy Vaughn Wheeler, who stands by me every day, and she is the glue that holds us together. I thank God for her. The work that we do, a lot of times is you don't get a lot of thanks. But my dad taught me something many years ago. He said, son, Don't give to be seen, but be seen giving. And so every time, I don't do this for fame or fortune, because there's not a whole lot of fortune in this work, but I do it for the people that we can help, one at a time. And that's how we're going to make a difference in this world, in this city that we live in this society, even in the state that it is. We can come together one at a time, and we can unite, and we are better together. And God bless you, and I thank God for this time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, y'all children. GG.
All right, everyone look right at me, please. Nice big smiles, all right? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Duran, seconded by Councilor Liang. 3, City Clerk, 3.1, minutes of the City Council regular meeting, February 17th, for acceptance. Motion by Councilor Rourke, seconded by Councilor Scott. Seeing it's not 7, we will pass the utility public hearings. We'll go on to the City Council motions. 5, City Council motions. City Councilor Nuon requests City Manager invite an appropriate personnel member from the National Grid to come to the City Council chambers to make a presentation on double poles, the access plus, for adding, removing poles. Seconded by Councilor Robinson.
Mr. Mayor, the last council meeting, I think Councilor Duran has some similar motion to all those 3 and was referred to the Utilities Subcommittee. If I asked to combine all 3 of them, I just have a few comments, and I too would agree with Councilor Duran to refer this to the Utilities Subcommittee to have it be addressed there.
Okay. Motion to combine 5.1, 5.2, and 5.3 by Councilor Nuon, seconded by Councilor Robinson. 5.2, Councilor Nuon requests City Manager require the National Grid appear in person for approval of future requests of installation of poles. 5.3, Councilor Nuon requests City Manager provide an update from National Grid on gas modernization projects. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, if I may want to just comment on it. The reason for all this motion, particularly the double pole, Mr. Mayor, this city strives itself for being a commitment to public safety. and to improve the infrastructures of the city. We want our partners, National Grid especially, to join us in making sure that removing all this double pole will be a good thing for the city in terms of public safety, for pedestrians, for bicyclists, and for drivers as well. So I'm looking forward to have this discussion at the Utilities Subcommittee meeting. Thank you.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 5.4, Councilor Robinson requests the city manager provide the city council with a detailed report of all organizations and entities that receive funding to assist in our 2025-2026 elections outside of the compensated poll workers. Seconded by Councilor Nuon. Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. I filed this at the end of the last term, and this is pretty much just a refile. We haven't got a response back, so I figured I'd put it back. Thank you.
City Manager Bolden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, just for a point of clarification, these are the nonprofit groups we work with? Is that who we're talking about?
That's correct, Mr. Manager. Pretty much any organization, for-profit, non-profit, if they were compensated for or funded to assist in voter engagement efforts, then it would be on that list.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 5.5, Councilor Robinson requests the city manager have the proper department provide the council with a detailed report on which of any projects in the pipeline may benefit from the state's newly rolled out CCTCI funding pool. Seconded by Councilor Mercia. Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. This is the new pot of money that the state has just rolled out, and I'm sure the administration is familiar with this. I'm looking for, I know we have quite a bit of projects that we've discussed over time, so anything that would qualify to potentially be assisted by this pool of money, it'd be greatly appreciated. And I know this pool's going to get dried up quickly, so the sooner we can act on this, the better off we'll be. Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 5.6, Councilor Scott requests the city manager provide an update on the culvert replacement work for Woburn Street, Gorham Street, and Borica Street. Seconded by Councilor O'Rourke. Councilor Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The motion really speaks for itself, but residents have reached out to me about the concrete barriers that have been there for a couple of years now. I did see that one of them was listed on the Conservation Committee, and a few residents also noticed that. So if you could just get us an update on where we are with those. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Scott. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 5.7, Councilor Scott requests the city manager provide an update on the status of upgrading Meadowcroft Street. Seconded by Councilor Nuon. Councilor Scott.
Thank you. Again, it really speaks for itself. I brought the motion in the past asking for an update on just the poor condition of the road. And at that time, I had been told that there was gas work and water lines and everything that needed to happen. Since then, we've had several water line breaks, and residents have just asked me what the plan is for finishing the street. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Scott. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 5.8, Councilor McDonough requests the city manager work with the appropriate department to assess the safety of the intersection of Watson Street and Lawrence Street. Seconded by Councilor Mercia. Councilor McDonough.
Thank you. Motion largely speaks for itself. This comes out of a concern that was raised at a Back Central neighborhood meeting, and looking through and to give credit where credit was due. Mr. Mayor, you brought it up as I was typing on my phone that somebody should put this in. In the packet, they report the number of accidents, and it looked as though there had been an accident at that intersection every single month that was reported to us in the packet of the neighborhood meeting. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McDonough. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 5.9, Councilor McDonough requests the city manager work with the appropriate department to explore the feasibility of restoring the commemorative at Kerouac Park in any community partnership to facilitate the continued maintenance of the park. Seconded by Councilor Duran. Councilor McDonough.
Thank you. I'm pretty sure, Mr. Manager, that you are already working on this, but this came out of a meeting that I had with somebody from the Lowell Celebrates Kerouac group who had asked that we formalize this on the floor with a motion. So one, thank you for already working on this, and two, here's the motion.
Thank you, Councilor McDonough. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 5.10, Councilor Mercia, request the city manager provide a report regarding the state money earmarked for Gage Field over the past 2 years. Seconded by Councilor Chow. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the chairperson of Parks and Recreation, it has come to my attention by State Representative Rodney Elliott that he was able to secure $50,000, which was 2 years in a row, $25,000 for each year from the state, which was earmarked to improve the grass surface / irrigation and/or fencing at Gage Field in Centerville. But it appears that nothing was ever done and that the city did receive the money specifically for that project. So this motion is asking, has the DPD or DPW any plans to use that money? And he is commenting that the field is a dust bowl, and State Rep. Elliott is about to ask for more money in the state fiscal 27 budget, but he would like to see the previous money spent first. So that's what he's asking me, and I'm making this motion on his behalf. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Mercia. Councilor Robinson.
I'd like to thank my colleague for bringing this forward. I brought this up before, and I'm not sure if, I think it was a little more open-ended, the earmark for that. I think it had to be applied to Gage for recreational and open space. I don't think it was really carved out specifically for grass. I know one of the conversations that we've had with the neighborhood, something that's definitely needed in that area, and we discussed briefly, is looking at potentially doing a seasonal restroom facility over there, because again, we have basketball courts, volleyball courts, we have soccer fields, baseball, softball fields, all of these things with no restroom. And then it's also a site for the children that do the recreational department summer camp. And I know the schools are good enough to allow us to use the restrooms for the summer camp, but for our general public, there are no restrooms options. Centerville Baseball used to provide porta potty for their baseball, but now that it's a unified league, there's no longer Centerville Baseball, so to say. So I think that is one of the locations that I think we need to look at, and how can we put in and install a seasonal restroom facility at that location. Thank you.
Manager Golden.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Councilor Mercy, thank you very much for bringing this up. We have a lot of different ideas over there. The volleyball courts we were talking about, potential restrooms, so I'll assure the state representative that we will be using that money plus some more. So I know that DPD, we're kind of looking at this plan and these ideas, but that money will not go to waste. But I will get your report on that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manager Golden. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 5.11, Councilor Duran, request the city manager ask the DPW to provide a list of which streets and sidewalks or portions have been paved and or otherwise repaired and how they were repaired in each of the last 5 years. Seconded by Councilor Dakota. Councilor Duran. Motion to bundle 5.11 and 5.12 by Councilor Duran, seconded by Councilor McDonough. 5.12, Councilor Duran requests the city manager ask the transportation engineer and DPW to provide the criteria and, if available, their weighing that are used to determine which streets and sidewalks are prioritized for traffic calming, paving, and snow removal. Seconded by Councilor McDonough. Councilor Duran.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Residents, are constantly asking about the status of and possibilities of paving their streets, and we know that under the city manager's focus on horizontal infrastructure repair, many streets have been paved or treated with various sealants. So I think first residents would like to see which ones have been paved or sealed and how, what crack sealing and all the other kinds each year, and possibly with the cost so that we all understand the investment the city has made, and we can then map that out. But I think that will first help the city council and residents understand status, which then leads into the question in 5.12 about what the city's plans are, what criteria it uses to do paving, sidewalks, and since we're in the season, snow removal. And I know the criteria, et cetera, may be different for those categories. But as we think about, criteria like which streets are the most heavily used, which have ambulances on them, school buses, cost, even depending on the type of materials which are being subject to gas or water work underground. I think understanding the criteria that are used for prioritization and the weighting, if there is any, for the criteria will be helpful so that residents, each of whom I know want their own street to be paved and repaired and have it at the top of the list, will have a sense of the city's plans for all of this work. And then I think we, as a council, with the administration, but with residents' input, can know that there are plans, see perhaps if they need any tweaking, but at least understand that, this is being looked at as a whole and not just based on, people complaining about their streets. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Duran. Councilor McDonough.
Thank you. I just want to underscore, one, thank Councilor Duran for both of these motions, and two, just to underscore the sidewalk piece. I know there was some murmur over the last week, and then I got several emails over the last week about, well, they say all this about the streets, and you've done a very good job after the last storm on the streets. But what about the sidewalks? And I actually think you did a much better job on the sidewalks too. But I think in this report, kind of making sure to take a hard look, or not a hard look, but a more dedicated look at the sidewalk component and the street component, just so that we can see. I don't know. When we talk about horizontal infrastructure and we talk about the money that we're spending on these improvements, there's a tendency for people to say like, oh, well, all of this money is only being spent on cars. We're not making improvements for other transit options. And so being able to see the work that the city is doing on the sidewalks and pedestrian infrastructure separate from, make sure that we get credit for all of that work. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McDonough. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion's passed. 5.13, Councilor Duran, Mayor Gitcher, requests the city manager ask the city solicitor to meet with the Rules Elections Subcommittee as a follow-up to the November 19, 2024 Rules Subcommittee meeting to discuss status, next steps, and possible voting methods for the potential amendment of the city's consent decree to allow the voters to elect the mayor. No second needed. Councilor Duran.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As most people know, in 2021, 75% of the voters, or 7,429 folks, voted yes on what was the non-binding referendum that asked voters whether they would like to have the ability to directly elect the mayor. The last discussion of this by the City Council was at the November 2024 Election Subcommittee meeting. But residents have asked about status since then. And from the minutes of that meeting, the city solicitor stated that applying for a grant from final relief of the consent decree would require overcoming some restrictive hurdles, and that even if the court that oversees the consent decree would allow the petition, then a home rule petition would also be required. None of this would necessarily be easy or a guarantee of a change, but the election subcommittee did vote at that meeting to engage plaintiffs with a proposal put forth by the council. So we owe it to our residents to take the time to put together a proposal, or perhaps several proposals and options. Consider, and so that first the council consider what it would be comfortable with, including taking into account the interests of some councilors to ensure that district councilors would be eligible to become mayor, and then get input about what residents might want and what might be possible to achieve. We may not be able to find a path forward given the legal and other constraints, because there are many hurdles here, but I think we owe it to our residents to understand what's possible. And I think doing that in a subcommittee where we can actually have a working session, so it's not a burden just on the city solicitor to sort of figure out which is the best path, but I think we can gather information about what's done in other municipalities and try to come up with what might make sense to present to both residents and the council, residents, and the petitioners. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Duran. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wholeheartedly agree with this motion. Sometime in 2024, I made a motion that said, request the City Council proceed to honor what the voters declared, that the voters of Lowell select the mayor, and to start the procedure to make this happen, but nothing seems to have happened. I feel disheartened when we put a referendum question on the ballot and we ask the public to go and vote, and they wholeheartedly vote to support something and nothing is done. What are we even doing that for? I firmly believe that the majority rules, and even if I didn't agree with it, the majority rules. I happen to agree with this anyway, but I'm glad the motion came up again. It's about time we finally do what the voters asked us by the way of vote to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Mercia. Councilor McDonough, then Manager Golden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to both Councilor Duran and Councilor Mercier, one for the motion and one for the other motion from however many years ago. I would also just ask that when this meeting with the Rules and Election Subcommittee happens, provided this motion passes, if we could also, trying to think creatively here about how many options are available to us to get to the will of the people of the city of Lowell, whether we need a binding, like if a binding referendum would do anything differently than us just trying to change it ourselves, or a formalized charter review process, or just so that we know what all of the options are, even the kind of reach options. Thank you.
Thank you, Manager Golden.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Council is, we stand at the ready. As soon as the subcommittee is ready, I'll ensure that Solicitor Williams and his team is there. As Councilor Duran had stated, this has been something that has eluded us. However, there are many steps or many challenges, I guess, but I think that at least starting at step one would be a good opportunity. So we stand at the ready. As soon as the Rules Subcommittee wants to meet, we'll ensure that even I'm there, as well as the city solicitor.
Councilor Nuon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, and thanks, Councilor Duran. This is in my book for a long time. The change in how we vote for district and at large. The plaintiff won the change, and when we put in the referendum, a lot of plaintiffs happy with that as well. There's a process out there in our city and town. We do not have to invent the wheel. And Councilor Mercier is correct. 75% of the voter 2021 said they want to elect mayor. And we want to do it the right way in which we do not exclude anyone, district and at large. Look at other city and town in the Commonwealth that have done that. Use that model. Invite the plaintiff and or his attorney or their attorney to come. They want to see that happen. What they want most is that representation, way in which we elect people that involving everyone. So I agree with Councilor Mercier. We need to honor the voters. I'm glad it come up tonight. And I'm glad you and Councilor Duran brought it up. Let's work on it. It shouldn't take more than 5 years and still sitting here. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Nuon. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. I'm going to go back to the public hearings, utility public hearings. Motion to bundle 4.1 to 4.6 by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Rook. 4.1, National Grid request installation of one JO pole.
Mr. Mayor,
I'm sorry.
through you to the city solicitor, could I ask the solicitor if you can bundle public hearing items. I'm not sure that you can.
Mr. Solicitor? Or Mr. Geary, clerk?
Yeah, Counsel, because it's all one petition, it is only a utility public hearing, we're able to bundle all those together. We did it prior, 2 weeks ago, and it's just more efficient for the body.
So you can, but if you had like 4 public hearings that were of different subjects, then you could.
No, you wouldn't. It's
could.
only possible because
But
it's
you can
only
do
one
this.
petitioner and the same petitioner.
I just wanted to be sure, not criticizing, I just didn't know.
None taken, Counsel.
Okay.
Thank you. 4.1, National Grid request installation of 1 JO pole at 1150 Westford Street. 4.2, National Grid request installation of 1 JO pole at 1270 Westford Street. 4.3, National Grid request installation of 1 JO pole at 241 Pawtucket Street. 4.4, National Grid request installation of 1 JO pole at 648 Stevens Street. 4.5, National Grid request installation of underground electric conduit along Pearl Street. 4.6, National Grid request installation of underground electric conduit on Middlesex Street from Canal Street to Garnet Street. Open the hearings to all those, anyone in favor? Please come up to the mic.
Yes, I'm here. I'm Alec Birdsong. I'm here to represent National Grid in this matter. The first 4 petitions are for reclosers to be installed on midspan poles for reliability, and the last 2 are for new service at the address.
Thank you. Can you state your name and you're with National Grid?
Yes, I'm Alec Birdsong with National Grid.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? In favor? In favor. That portion of the meeting is closed. Anybody wishing to speak in opposed? Opposed? Opposed. That portion of the meeting is closed. Motion to refer it to the report to the wire inspector for a report and recommendation on all 5 items. Item 4.1 to 4.6 by Councilor Rourke, seconded by Councilor Nuon. Thank you. We're going to go back to the motions. 5.14, Mayor Gitcher requests the city manager work with the proper department to light the bridges in Lowell in blue on April 11th, 2026, in recognition of the Spark the Night for Parkinson, a global initiative to raise awareness and show support for those living with Parkinson's disease. Seconded by Councilor Nuon. Manager Golden.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through you to the council. And just for further edification, I did speak with Jay Linehan from the Greater Lowell Community Foundation. Thought it was a great idea, and we can say this is going to happen. So,
Thank you.
unless you want me to report on it too.
No, I don't need a report. Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any
Thank you, Mr.
opposed?
Linehan.
Motion passes. Say that again, Mr. Manager.
Thank you to Mr. Linehan for answering the motion for me immediately.
I'd like to throw softballs once in a while. 6, communication from the city manager.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor,
Councilor,
before you go on to the next section, could I ask for we have a lot of people speak on this one particular item. Could I ask for a motion to suspend the rule and take 7.3 out of order?
Motion to take 7.3 out of order by Councilor Chow, seconded by Councilor Robinson. 7.3, vote authorize city manager execute lease agreement with the senior center. Waive full reading and second reading by title. Vote authorizing city manager on behalf of the city of Lowell to enter into a lease agreement with Nicholas C. Saris as trustee of City Barns Trust for the property located at 276 Broadway Street in Lowell, and to execute all documents necessary for the lease of the property.
Registered speakers, Mr. Mayor. Elijah Russell. Ryan Farrier.
All righty. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Manager, members of the council, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Ryan Faria. I reside on Campbell Drive in the Highlands neighborhood. I will try to be brief. I don't plan to spend any time opining on the legality of our right to take ownership. I am not an attorney, and I will leave it to the attorneys, and I also don't plan to opine on the morality of the issue, as I believe that speaks for itself. I would like, however, to ask all the councilors to vote no on this lease tonight, and here are a few reasons why. I think prior to any vote, we should seek outside counsel from a firm that specializes in real estate contract law and receive an opinion on the outcome of litigation, as well as an estimate of the cost to litigate this, if it need to go that route. If the litigation conclusion is unfavorable, we should again seek outside counsel for a firm that can confirm the language in any future lease is rock solid to ensure that at the end of 15 years, we can take ownership of this property. This would now be the second contract in a relatively short time frame where the public is being told it's not favorable for the city to defend its interests. The first one was the Lupoli Land Disposition Agreement, and now this one. Additionally, prior to any vote, I would ask that the city auditor release a detailed memo outlining all payments that the city has made against this lease, as well as the extension order on this lease. I would ask that the clerk's office release the minutes of the executive session as voted on to do so by the council. I also think the city should consider an RFP to go ahead and look at potential other locations for the senior center, given that we have demands or needs that are a little bit greater than the current senior center square footage can allow for. Prior to any vote, I would also push the city include a right of first refusal, a ROFR, into this contract. That'll give us an opportunity to have a seat at the table if and when the Walgreens portion of the condoized unit goes up for sale. And it'll allow us to go ahead and be the first dibs at it. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, prior to any vote, the city should renegotiate the lease price with a rate that is more in line with market standards. I have for reference 3 different leases that are by the Saris ownership group with the city of Lowell. They are between $11.30 per square foot up to $13.84 per square foot. And those are mostly on Merrimack Street, rented by the Career Center and Lowell Public Schools. The senior center lease for this 15 years that will run from this year through 2041 has a price point of $22.70 per square foot. That's 65% higher than any other lease that we have between this ownership group and the city of Lowell. While I would expect the price to be a little bit higher, given that we're going 15 years into the future, I was surprised and shocked to learn at how much of an increase this really is. In conclusion, the residents and taxpayers deserve better than what is presented today. I would ask the council please take the time to pursue all avenues before any vote is taken. Please vote no. Thank you for your time.
Anthony Melissi.
Trying not to press anything on the keyboard. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Anthony Melissi. I am a resident of 235 Baldwin Street. When I was notified of this potential lease agreement, I started looking into the details and doing my research. And in particular, I only have 2 questions so far that I have not been able to find an answer to. First one is, why is this motion being voted on before any executive session minutes have been released? The second one is, why are we paying $7.5 million on a property, again, during my research and looking into the details, that has only been assessed at $3.5 million? Is the city planning on giving up $4.5 million to these developers out of the goodness of their hearts? Is there something else going on? I would love to know. I think other residents would love to know. But again, we are not giving these details. While I understand why these negotiations are made in executive session, I still don't understand why we're making a $7.5 million decision, especially when every time I tune into these city council meetings, I hear that we're strapped for cash. This type of maneuvering only erodes public trust in government. The residents and taxpayers deserve more details. Please don't sell out our city. Don't sell out our seniors. Please vote no, or at the very least, move to table this motion until we know all of the details. Thank you.
Attorney George Theodoro.
Good evening. Attorney George Theodoro, 491 Dutton Street, representing Nick Saris, trustee of the City Barnes Trust. Excuse me. One point I just want to make is with respect to the amount of the rent that's being paid, we quantified that over with the city manager's office, the auditing department, to quantify the amount of the rent over this period of time and what it would entail paying. This is a special purpose building. It is not office space, which was quoted in the other two leases. It is not retail space, but as a special purpose building, which is a senior center, which houses a commercial kitchen in there, which puts out over hundreds of meals a week. It has meeting rooms, it has offices, it has classrooms, it has a great hall. It's a center and a beehive activity. So we would make the argument that it warrants the amount. There is no escalation clause in this lease at all. It is a flat rent over a period of 15 years. Nothing for a cost of living increase, nothing that is included in there with respect to an increase in costs and fees to run the senior center. The prior lease had a monthly amount that we worked with closely with DPD in sending bills every year that they would audit. We would pay it, they would pay us back. In this lease, it's a flat rent. So there is no escalation. Would we like that? And have costs paid on a yearly basis? We would, but we conceded that point. Would we like to have a 20-year lease? We would, but we have a 15-year lease. These are all concessions that we made with respect to this lease. I will not comment with respect to the legal grounds that we have on entering into a new lease. I made a detailed demand to the city and presented it to them. So given that, I think that what we're doing is continuing the operation of this building, providing essential services to those in the community that are least protected, which are the seniors. And it will continue. And I ask that you consider this, you vote favorably for it, that you give us your support so we can all move forward on this matter.
No more registered speakers.
Mr. Mayor, I have a point of clarification.
There's no more registered speakers, so the floor is now yours, Mr. McDonough.
Just to,
It would be up to the body if they want to suspend the rules, let you speak. Councilor Robinson, suspend the rules, seconded by Councilor Scott.
can I ask my, it's of
Go ahead.
the point of information here on of the speaker. There's been some confusion in discussions around the city and also discussions around other discussions that have been had.
Councilor McDonough, we normally...
Attorney Theodoros, my question for Attorney Theodoros, who just spoke.
You can do that when the floor is yours during
Okay.
the regular portion. So let's finish the open portion, then we'll come right back to you. State your name and address for the record.
My name is Elijah Russell. I live at 61 East Meadow Lanes, apartment 8. Sorry again for being late. So I'd like to say that the City Council has no choice but to fight for the rightful ownership of the property under the contractual agreement. The council's legitimacy rides on this vote. If the council decides to lease the building for another 15 years to the same landlord who denied seniors heat, what is it to stop other millionaire owners or corporations from treating the city's taxpayers as nothing but a personal piggy bank? The only logical reason I could see the city would want to waste more taxpayer dollars by leasing it is because the city feels it does not want to deal with the maintenance of the building. We should not have city property be privatized in order to give up the responsibility for efficiency. We need to upkeep our institutions. I would say that the intention of the City Board and Trust, major groups, and Seneca is an example from the taxpayers that their goal is to extract as much as they can and hope that we do not litigate the contract, as it would be cheaper to capitulate. We have seen this playbook as the high school construction project. It's been 4 weeks and still no update on the scope of the newest findings of the unfinished work that was already promised to us back in the 70s to determine whether there is another round of funds needed for approval for this body to finish the high school reservations. The intent has always been to enrich themselves instead of our community. A quote from Mayor Gitchier from a city subcommittee in 2024. We should not watch like a hawk to make sure that the property owners follow through on every little maintenance responsibility. I believe it is solely their responsibility and to watch like a hawk. The city has to hold people accountable. We have gone winter after winter assuming that we had a procedure in place for removing snow. A freshman councilman decided to hold the workers of the city accountable and see how we can improve on critical city functions. We have saw what happened when we don't watch on every single little function of the city government.
Are we on the senior center, Mr. Mayor? Or what are we talking about here? Is this the senior center or something else?
We have to stick to the senior center.
All right, I apologize. I would
Thank you,
just say
Councilor Rourke.
that the residents can no longer afford the city not representing the Lowellians. I would say litigate instead of capitulate. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing the hearings are closed, Councilor McDonough.
Thank you. I got a little overzealous with my question. I'm wondering if Attorney Theodoris also represents City Barnes LLC?
Councilor Mercy has to recuse herself, so.
I
Councilor
just
Mercy.
want to say for the record that I'm on the board of directors for the Friends of the Council on Aging, and I cannot vote. I'm sorry. I wish I could, but I can't.
Thank you, Councilor Mercy. I'm sorry to interrupt again, Councilor McDonough. Now you can go.
Okay.
Your question, yes, the City Barnes LLC is the beneficiary of the City Barnes Trust.
Thank you.
That was it? Wow. No, that was a point of information. Okay. Councilor Dakota.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think there's a misnomer here that this is all being put on the taxpayer. That couldn't be any farther from the truth. This rent is being paid by a CDBG grant that has been good for 25 years at this point. So I'm not understanding, maybe the city manager can help me out with this, but I don't think this is on the taxpayers coming out of the general fund, is it? It's not.
Manager Golden.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. At this time, if we continue with the lease, then CDBG monies would be utilized for that.
It would be.
Which CDBG money is money that is given by the federal government.
Okay, and I guess my next question to the city solicitor, let's take in, let's say this happens. Let's say the CDBG federal grant, the federal government cuts. Is there language in the lease that states that we be able to negotiate with the Bonds Trust?
Mr. Solicitor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, in the proposed lease that is on the agenda tonight, there would be, there's a specific provision that addresses this, and if due to lack of appropriations, we weren't getting those funds anymore, we weren't able to pay for it, the parties have agreed that it would go to a mediator to establish what ultimately would happen depending at what point the lease were to end, and depending on how much money and years were left, the mediator would resolve that for the parties.
I appreciate it. Understanding the fiscal climate that we're in, I believe this is the way to go with a lease. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Chow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I want to thank the speakers for coming to speak tonight, especially the 3 young speakers that will be our next future leaders. This is a very important topic on senior center. It's very timely. It serves hundreds of vulnerable residents in our community, as well as some of the strongest and healthiest seniors that enjoy the senior center for many various events and social functions. Just to the point of the legal and the financial, these 2 things are very intertwined. And without saying much, I just want to make sure that the public understand what the main discussions we have in the executive sessions before it comes here to the public forum. It's not easy. It's not just one meeting. It's multiple meetings. Try to get to the right part. And I'm glad that the executive sessions minutes have been released today for the public to view as well. I want to pinpoint on two things. Like I said earlier, it connects the legal and the financials so the public understand. On the legal part, through you, Mr. Mayor, to the city solicitor, what was the exact language as, including maybe the councilors, when you the first onset looking at it, there's language in there that states it would be transferable to the city and so forth. Can you quickly brief over that part, like specific language that it would be transferable to the city after the lease, after so many years, for example, in this case, 20 years?
Solicitor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I understood you correctly, Councilor Chow, are you referring to language in the lease as to the property being transferred back to the city at the conclusion of the 20 years?
That's correct. I know you touch on it a little bit, and I know, people will say they're not lawyers, and none of us are lawyers here except maybe for a couple of people, and it can open too many interpretations. But what was the language in there that, that people have to understand that it may be transferable to the city after the lease ends?
Yeah, so specifically there is no explicit contractual term in the body of the lease. There is a reference to it in an exhibit. It's actually Exhibit B. It's in a footnote at the bottom that says, at the end of the 20-year period, the property will be gifted back to the city. Now, without going too far down the rabbit hole, there is a significant difference between an actual explicit contractual term and something that you might find in an exhibit, especially the way that it's incorporated by reference in the actual lease itself, which a lot of that isn't as strong as perhaps we would have wanted it to be. So I think there are some potential issues there for us when it comes to the city the property coming back to the city.
Okay, and it's not clear. So where does that? I know you answered Councilor Dakota a minute ago. Like, how many options? What options that leave the city? I mean, what are the options specifically? If multiple, but maybe you can name 3 options that we could be making decisions with. Through Mr. Mayor to the city solicitor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think from the way I see it, there's 2 options, really. There's the lease that's in front of you to move forward with that, and the second option would be to sort of move forward with getting the property, with pursuing ownership of the property. Okay. Those really would be the 2 options at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. And like I said, it really connects to also, as the speaker mentioned, to the finance of the city and so forth. The numbers out there is $7.5+ million for the durations of the lease. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the CFO, I'm sure you work out the numbers in and out, backward and forward. How would this compare to, if we were to purchase it or is transfer it? What, can you just walk us through it, the finance? What does it look like in terms of the lease for the next 15 years? What does the finance look like? If you take ownership, what would be the cost of the city? Things like that. If you could compare, give some example, like apples to apples comparison, ownership versus leasing.
CFO Baldwin.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for the question, Councilor. The finance department, the manager's office, unlike the public, we've had a good amount of time to review these options, to weigh the financial risks on either edge. And I won't get into any of the legal nuance that the solicitor mentioned, but the lease that's before the council, the rent is $504,000 a year, and There are certain costs that the city would not need to incur under a lease agreement that we would under an ownership model. In that hypothetical, although I'm not commenting on whether or not that's feasible, but in this hypothetical, if the city were to own this building or any building, we have seen the common costs from the condo association. Those are condo costs, maintenance costs, insurance costs, etc. Those would be costs to the city in the neighborhood of $70,000 per year. There are additional costs associated with there is rent that is owed to could be owed to the owner. If we were to amortize that over a period of 15 years, that would be approximately in the neighborhood of $117,000 per year to resolve that matter, as well as capital improvements. So the Department of Planning and Development engaged a design study recently to examine the building and assess the building needs. That study done by the Gale Associates outlined several cost types: immediate term, medium term, long term. The immediate term capital needs were in the magnitude of $1.85 million. Over the longer term, there are structural needs to the building that would need to be addressed. All in, that's about $7.8 million. So if you were to consider that and amortize the $7 million figure over 15 years at a rate of about 4%, that's about $700,000 a year. But setting that aside, just the sort of resolution of the back rent and the operating cost is about $200,000 per year. And so I hope that addresses some of your questions, Councillor, and provides some context both for the council and the public.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. CFO. And Mr. Mayor, just one more question. So I want to make sure that the public really could hear all the options available. We have on the legal side, we've got a couple options, and the CFO, the finance, to me, sounds very similar in terms of cost, duration for the same period, about 15 years. But just looking at different case scenario through you, Mr. Mayor, to the manager, as we discuss different options and so forth, depending on which way to go, let's say worst case scenario, the senior center may not be available at its current location. Would there be any other alternative location for the senior center if, let's say, deals, negotiations, or what have you doesn't go the way we want? Are there like alternative places?
Manager Golden.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. At this time, we don't have any other locations at this time. I just want to point out the fact to the CFO that the finances under the second scenario would come out of the general fund. And under the first scenario, it would be coming out of the CDBG monies, which is federal government. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Manager, and through you, Mr. Mayor, if I may. It's important to note that the restrictions on the funds are such that it is an eligible use of community development block grant to fund a lease for public facilities, for senior centers. Those fall within the eligible criteria, and so the funding of the rent at the $504,000 figure is an allowable cost under CDBG. However, if we were to assume ownership, those costs that I outlined for the ongoing expenses, et cetera, those would not be eligible for CDBG. And so we would need to look to the tax base or to other available funds to cover those on an operating ongoing basis.
Thank you, Mr. CFO. And I know, Mr. Manager, like you said, there's no alternative places. Not that I ever wanted to move, because that's a beautiful facility, but right now you're just saying that that's the only option of a location we have, correct? Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Chow. Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the speakers for coming out and speaking tonight. I think some good points were raised, and I do think we have some information that's missing, and quite frankly, we're being asked to make a decision, an uninformed decision on this vote currently. It's unclear why 30B wouldn't apply on this. It's unclear what are options for a path forward. It's unclear how strong Exhibit B, where it spells out every payment that we were responsible to make over 20 years, down to the penny. And below that, on Exhibit B, it says at the end of this, it'll be gifted back to the city. We held up our end of the bargain for 20 years. Payments weren't made for a couple years, and again, we didn't receive a demand for payment letter until recently, when we began the conversation centered around who owns the building. We had numbers being thrown out. Gale Associates, $7-point-something million might be needed for improvements of the building. Well, it's a condo association. That's a shared cost. We're talking about 1 out of 5 units that would be shared between the condo association. In historical context, the city owned this parcel at one time. So not only did the city gift a parcel to a group of gentlemen that I must say, tremendously improved that area. And I think the entire city is thankful for what they did. But let's not diminish the city's end of the bargain here. We gave an entire parcel with the agreement we would lease out 1 spot for the senior center at the end of the 20 years. That term expired, provided we held up our end of the bargain, made those payments that were carved out down to the penny. Completion of those 20-year payments, it would be gifted back to the city. Now, we can get into the technicalities and the what ifs, and we don't really have the money to maintain a building. It's an asset. We'll find a means to maintain an asset that's providing a service to our elderly population, I'm sure. And I'm sure every taxpayer would not object to that. What I do think we're hearing objections to is us entering into a successor lease agreement based on unknowns, based on what ifs, based on how abouts. I don't understand how we're being asked to take a vote on something when we don't even know if we could have a course of action and if that building should have been turned over legally. That's why I think 2 pieces need to happen. I think we definitely, and I agree with the speaker, I think the council needs to secure independent legal counsel, municipal counsel at our selection to review this current situation and advise the council on a path forward, if we have a path forward, which will help fill in the gaps to make an informed decision by this collective, I think, for 1. And for 2, I think until that happens, I'd like to make a motion to lay this on the table. And if you look up what laying on the table is used for, just for clarity, it's when a motion is laid on the table, it could be for a variety of reasons, such as the need to gather more information, which is key. We're being asked to take a vote on significant money. And to say CDBG is not taxpayer money, it doesn't come out of the general fund. But nonetheless, it's funded by taxpayers. Nonetheless, if we can pay
Councilor
lease...
Robinson, there's a motion on the floor that you just put to lay it on the table, seconded by Councilor McDonough. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, what's the motion again?
To lay this on the table, meaning that it would be tabled to a further time to gather more information.
Councilor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilor Rourke.
No.
Councilor Scott.
No.
Councilor Chow.
No.
Councilor Dakota.
No.
Mayor Getchia.
Yes.
Councilor Duran.
Yes.
Councilor Liang.
Yes.
Councilor McDonough.
Yes.
Councilor Mercia. Councilor Noon.
No.
Motion failed.
Motion fails. Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. So, I mean, the subsequent, I don't know. I think if people are comfortable on taking a vote on something without the information, then after my colleagues have a chance to chime in, I would request a roll call vote on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Scott.
Thank you. And I would just comment, I'm not sure what information we're looking for. We've been meeting on this for quite a long time now. So one question I would like to ask the solicitor, there's misconceptions out there that we own the senior center. And in Massachusetts, or it seems like the deed is the main thing that tells you whether or not you own something or not. Is there any language in the deed that says that we're going to gift the senior center back to the city at the end of the deed, end of the contract?
Mr. Solicitor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, there is no language in the deed.
And another question, so there's also another document that's been circulating around that's a vote of the city council back at the time, I think was in 2001 or even before then, I guess. And that has been recorded at the Registry of Deeds. What legal effect does that have on this contract or on enforcement with this contract?
Mr. Solicitor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So that being recorded would show the intent of one of the parties. It's in, a vote is an internal document of the city council. So it would be there to show that, in fact, the city council voted the way that it did.
So that should have been incorporated into the deed properly at that point in time.
Yes, both parties would have had to have agreed and then incorporated into the deed. And as I sort of had alluded to earlier, the other document being the lease, you would have expected to see a separate contractual term in there spelling out just that.
Okay. And then, so the only thing that we really have as far as ownership reverting back to the city is the footnote that is in the contract, the lease agreement. And I'm just curious, I know we've already heard this, but do you have confidence that that would hold up in court if we went to court with that one line?
So I hope that at least the councils understand that, I certainly wouldn't have and haven't taken the position that, absolutely we're going to lose if we were to go forward with the lawsuit, or absolutely we're going to win. That's not what this is. It's an analysis. I look at each argument that would be made and all of the things that I would expect to see with a deed and with a lease agreement, especially with, quote unquote reverter language, or what is to happen with the disposition of property is not in the two places that you would go to look for it. So I have advised the city council that given the risk that is there, to me, no, I'm not confident that we would prevail. If ultimately we went forward into litigation, doesn't mean we wouldn't zealously fight for it and basically take all the arguments and all the points that I've made and just flip them and gone the other way. There are absolutely arguments to be made, but it is my opinion that one side is stronger than the other at this point.
Thank you. And then another question as far as the costs go. I'm not really sure that this was answered. So right now it's being paid for with CDBG funds, and that will continue with this new lease. So it will have no effect on the tax rolls. What would be your estimated amount, I guess, that this would be if it was added into the tax base for the yearly costs? Connor, I'm sorry. CFO Baldwin.
CFO Baldwin.
I don't have that information right here, but if you'll give me 1 second, I have.
Okay, and here's another one too. So one of the speakers came up and asked about the square footage. I'd also like you to possibly talk about if this is comparable. I know the attorney said that this is a senior center, and it's, do we have school spaces or anything like that that would be comparable to this?
CFO Baldwin.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. So with the caveat that the costs and therefore the tax impact are based on a number of assumptions, some of which I outlined in my discussion earlier about things that could be costs to the city, whether it's capital improvements, et cetera. So this is all very hypothetical, but the impact to the average single-family home of the cost would be about $25.74 per year. And that's based on a $500,000 home. That scales up as our taxes are based on the value of the home. So the more valuable a home, the more the impact on the tax rate. And as to your second question, Councilor, we are aware of the comparison and where the square footage lies in terms of other lease agreements that the city may have with other private owners. It is noteworthy that the lease is based on the resolution of the arrearage, so that is baked in, so to speak. The base rent would be less if not for these amounts owed, so that is driving up the per square footage cost. However, there are other comparable leases for 107 Merrimack Street where the health department is. That works out to about $22.92 per square foot. What is the 80-day school at 60 Carlisle Street in Chelmsford, where the school department operates their school for kids and adults with autism, is $20.26 per square foot, and then the mass hire lease at the Wanalancet Mills is a little bit less, but is in the realm of $19.50 per square foot.
Okay. And so this would incorporate you said approximately 1.3 million that we would owe in back rent at this point in time.
That is the amount owed, 1.27 million, and again, with no escalation.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Scott. Councilor McDonough.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, it had been been a few minutes since I raised my hand, so I wanted to just take a look at my notes. The attorney for City Barnes Trust and LLC, I think, said something fairly interesting at the podium, and that's that City Barnes LLC is the beneficiary of City Barnes Trust. In looking through the document, well, actually, first question, is the purchase and sale agreement that was entered into between the City Council and City Barnes Trust / LLC, this is, Mr. Mayor, through you to probably the city solicitor, is that document registered at the Registry of Deeds?
Solicitor Williams.
Thank you. No, it's not.
Is that document referenced in either the declaration? Is that document in any way referenced in any recorded agreement at the Registry of Deeds?
Solicitor Williams.
No, it's not.
Okay. So I found in the Registry of Deeds database, there is the Declaration of Trust for City Barnes Trust, and there are also the trustee certificates. In one dated October 5th, 2001, trustee certificate, line C, it reads in full, to acquire from the City of Lowell the real estate located at 276 Broadway and 154, 168, 172 Adams Street, pursuant to a purchase and sale agreement dated October 5th, 2001. When I look at that purchase and sale agreement, I see, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it says annual lease payments will be a net of $243,467, subject to annual appropriation. At the end of the lease period, the property is gifted. At the end of the lease period, this one says Lowell Restoration Incorporated shall gift and donate the lease premise to the City of Lowell. There is another lease where it says City Barnes, at the end of the lease, City Barnes LLC will gift the city the property back. In the Declaration of Trust, and I promise I'm getting to a question, I'm sorry. In the Declaration of Trust, the third, not a lawyer, but the third paragraph here says, third, trustee shall have no power to deal with the trust estate except as specifically directed in writing by the beneficiary, who I think we just learned is City Barnes LLC, who we have a written agreement with that after 20 years of rental payments, they'll give the land back to the city. Why would we not be able to get the land back? That's my question.
Solicitor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, as is true of any purchase and sale, language such that you just read is non-binding. That describes the intent. So what you would look for after you saw purchase and sale is what's the document that comes after. You look at the deed and you look at the lease. That language is not in either. Which is why purchase and sale, the language is non-binding. It's for intent. Where you memorialize that is in those two instruments that I just described after the fact.
But it is included, I mean, it's in an exhibit, but it is included in the lease. Exhibit B.
It is in an exhibit, I agree. in attachment B. But again,
Okay, my next
with most,
question. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
when you have exhibits, typically you'd go to the lease and see where it's incorporated by reference. In a scenario like this, you would expect to see a specific provision as it relates to conveyance of the property at the conclusion of the lease, and it might reference attachment B,
Okay.
which it does not.
My next question, and I'm sorry, I'm going to skip around a little bit, only because I'm going in order, or I will get lost. Mr. Mayor, through you to the city auditor, just for the edification of the public here, when did you stop authorizing, or when did we stop paying rent for 276 Broadway Street?
Madam Auditor?
Thank you. I mean, according to my records, the last time we paid rent was September of 2022.
Thank you. Do you know why we stopped? Again, this is largely for everybody at home as well, but why did we stop paying rent in 2022?
Well, I mean, I can't answer that for certain. I would have to refer that to perhaps the Assistant City Manager of DPD. But the lease had expired. There was a subsequent agreement, a cooperation agreement between the Department of Planning Development and the City of Lowell to continue rent.
Okay.
Manager Golden?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through the council. Council, the lease that expired and CDBG monies cannot be used for leases that had expired, and that's what that had stopped.
So this lease had expired in 2022.
Mr. Manager?
Technically, it expired in 2021, and there was an extension.
The one-year extension.
From 21 to 22.
Thank you.
I came in April of 22, and we needed to start to work on unraveling this issue.
When, and I'm going to let someone else speak in a minute, sorry. Who first, a question, I guess, for the city solicitor, for the mayor, for the clerk, for anyone here. I know the council received the executive session minutes, and I'm staring at them. Are these considered released yet? And if I ask a question, can it be rooted in what's contained in these minutes, or is this still?
We voted to release the minutes at the last executive session, so you can speak freely about them.
This is city solicitor?
Solicitor.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion again to release the minutes of the executive session meetings concerning the senior center.
We don't need to do that, Councilor Rucker. It's already been released.
Sorry.
Yes, at the previous executive session, there was a motion made and passed to release the executive session minutes.
Right. No, I just, before I said anything on the floor of the council and then found out, oh, actually they weren't approved, I just wanted to make sure I was clear.
We've been speaking freely for the last 45 minutes on this topic.
Thank you. Well, look at this was the 1 week I didn't call ethics. Yeah. Mr. Mayor, through you to the city manager, who first approached, or who first broached this discussion of entering into another lease agreement? Was this something that was brought to you by the council, or is this something that the administration brought to the council?
Manager Golden.
Mr. Mayor, through to the council, this has gone over the past 3 years. And obviously, trying to figure out the ownership piece has been the challenge. So we've had numerous executive sessions on this. Everyone has, with the exception of the newer councils. This has spanned, once again, 3 years. During our last executive session, the council, when we left, the council charged me with putting a 15-year lease back together. That was not a unanimous vote, and that's what we've done. For the edification of the public at home, this has been going on. This was something that happened in 2001. And the lease itself is ambiguous in regards to the disposition of the property. That's where we are, and that's where we've been. We've been trying to work through this. But the option that I was asked to put forward was to bring back a lease, a 15-year lease, which I have here, for the council to vote on and make the decision as to what they want to do.
Thank you. So just for clarity for viewers at home and for anybody else listening or watching, in the minutes from the October 7th, 2025 executive session, which is the earliest meeting that's been released thus far, now that I've been cleared to say this, thank you. Sorry. It looks, actually, it is crystal clear that this lease extension originated with the city manager. So the minutes begin that the manager raised the second item of the senior center. There's words that I'm not going to waste our time with. And then it says the manager noted that funding for this site would be CDBG funding, but it can't cover the back rent. Manager outlined two options. And then the manager notes that his recommendation will be to establish a lease for the site. That's before any comment from any city councilor. So, and that's fine. That's your job, is to make those recommendations. I don't besmirch you in any way for making that recommendation. I just want to be clear that the idea here that we need to extend the lease seems to have originated, or as it is reflected in these notes, that idea originated with the city administration. So thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Councilor McDonough. Councilor Liang.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Manager. I don't know that he's asking a question. He made a statement.
Mr. Mayor, through to the council, that is not the case at all.
Then I would ask that the minutes from the October 7th, 2025 meeting be updated to reflect that correction, and I apologize.
For a point of clarification, Mr. Mayor, if I may, I apologize for interrupting you.
Councilor Rook.
May I get you? Every decision that this council has made, I think everybody here, whether you served the last term or this term, would agree that what we told the manager to do, that's what him and his team has done. Any other circumstance or insinuation that this was forced upon us in any way is totally false, illegitimate, and basically dishonest. And that's what's going on here. Every single decision, and I would ask one councilor to say different, we would presented options. None of them were unanimous at any point in time over the past couple of years. But every decision was based on what we wanted to do. We told the manager and his team to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Rook. Councilor Liang.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for bringing this up. I know that there's a lot of missing information here. We're bleeding cash, like I said. And at the same time, I just want to say that I'm not a business person. Trust is broken. So in the old days when you do handshakes, our word means something. For this one, after 20 years, even footnote that's already clearly expressed in exhibit can't be real. So I'm a little disappointed in that as well. And also with CDBG money. I know it is CDBG money, and I work with nonprofit for so long. This money can also be spread out to other nonprofit as well. So either way, it's a lose-lose for us. Now, this new contract also with the older contract, I mean, it doesn't feel right with me. First of all, where is the 15 years come from? If it's a loophole, why it's not like a 2 years or a 3 years, and then gives it back to us, if that's the case? I don't trust this, just in case that at the end of 15 years, who knows, and just say, hey, we can't give it back. And to me, the word gifted back, now, English is not my first language, but gifted back is sent that and give it back to us, meaning it's ours in the first place, and for some reason, something happened. There's a lot of stuff that's going on, especially looking at business and developers within our city. As a newbies, I know there's a lot of things that should look at clearly. And for me to look at this tonight, it is not right, and I know it is a CDBG money, but still, these money could be useful in all different nonprofit organizations around the city as well. So I just want us to express my opinion that we need more information, and communities, our residents, especially the neighborhood where I'm coming from or representing, need to know more information about this before I can vote. If we have to vote tonight, we can vote, but if not, the more information is needed. And again, this contract, I'm iffy about it just because there's a footnote in the beginning and it still doesn't work. So it's not right, and I just want to make sure that the community knows that.
Manager Golden.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Just to answer your question, Councilor, in regards to the 15-year for the CDBG, that is the minimum amount of time that CDBG would allow this to happen. So we definitely would have gone for 2 years, 5 years, or whatever the case may be. But that that year, I've had an opportunity to speak with the executive, I'm going to call director. The regional director, the regional director, discuss that, as well as the monies that would be potentially owed in arrearage. Also, there was a question, and I apologize, councilors, who brought it up in regards to the 30B piece, but in regards to 30B, this is in an urban revitalization neighborhood, which allows us not to have to use 30B, I guess. Is that the right way to... Mr. Solicitor, in regards to the 30B question, I just wanted to make sure. There are a couple of questions I have here that were asked, and I just, Mr. Mayor, to the
Solicitor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, so it's Chapter 30B, Section 1, B25, that specifically says, a property such as this, for any contract, a lease such as this one, that's within an urban renewal area, an urban renewal area is specifically exempt from 30B.
You all set, Mr. Manager? You all set? Councilor Nuon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Like everyone else, I want to thank the speakers for express how they feel on this very important issue. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the city solicitor, but I think Councilor Scott's already asked that question. Let me ask this way. Why, question asked out there, why would we lease a building that we own? Do we own it?
Solicitor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, we do not.
When you talk about gift, the word gift, was the word gift actually in the provision of the original lease?
No, it was not.
It was a footnote, more than an exhibit. You mentioned Exhibit B, is that correct?
It's correct.
Why is it not sufficient to have a footnote on saying gift to the city? Why is it not sufficient to transfer the ownership to the city?
So, as you know, I'll sort of restate it. With anything like this, when it comes to the disposition of property, you would expect to see a specific contractual term in the lease itself, or you would expect to see a provision on the deed itself. Where there isn't one in either, it makes it a less than ideal or a much weaker argument to make to show the original intent. Not to say that it's impossible, but it is a much weaker argument to make legally.
I too saw in the minute of the council in 2001 when they vote that after 20 years the property, you give it back to the city. But for some reason, that was not go into the original deed, was it?
Didn't need to. Council.
Yes, through you, through the mayor to you.
Mr. Mayor, no, it was not.
To say that this lease 2001 was a mistake, I feel like people who are involved in this know that this day will come. They know that this day will come. But do we go back there to rehash that? Do we point finger to this administration or this council? We are presented with two bad options, basically. The one option is to continue to renew the list. If I could ask through you, Mr. Mayor, through city solicitor, could you, on your list here that you have before us, to prevent this 2001 lease happen again, what in this provision did you put? Let me direct you to page 16. Could you read it?
Solicitor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sure, it's paragraph 26. In accordance with paragraph 3 of this lease, the landlord shall donate the premises to the city of Lowell by delivering a properly executed quitclaim deed, free of all encumbrances not in existence as of the commencement date within 30 days as of the termination date.
There's also language in terms of the maintenance of the building as well. Was not really clear in 2001, was it? We deal with that, but now it changed. So, like I said before, the two options presented to me and to this rest of the council, it's a difficult option. I chose the one that when I examined the legal and the financial analysis that put forth by the CFO and his team, and when we're talking about city solicitor, it's not just city solicitor. There's a team there. I'm not defending you, but there's a team. In any firm, law firm, DA office and stuff, it's not rely on just one person. Just that one person may be head of that department. But that one person does not know all. That one person rely on his or her staff. In your case, Mr. Mayor, through the city solicitor, was there a team of you? How many team of you? How many people in your team involved in reviewing this process?
Mr. Solicitor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There was 6 attorneys and a tax title paralegal as well that helps with review, as does the litigation manager.
See, for me, in making this decision, I rely on those because I'm not an attorney. I'm not a CFO. I rely on them and their team. And this is the best thing. To me, this is the best thing for the city. And making sure, and the language in this lease is strong enough that after 15 years, we will retain ownership of the senior center. I thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Duran. Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm really struggling with this situation. I have many questions about where we might go and what level of trust we should have. First of all, when I see the 2001 deed that was filed with the Registry of Deeds, it references that May 8th, 2001 City Council vote, recorded herewith. That vote was recorded at the registry. And that mentions the gifting. So there is, Exhibit B, which we lawyers might argue over whether it's incorporated or not. But I think I struggle with, with the arguments there. But clearly the buyers were on notice of the conditions in that City Council vote. Here we are today, though, trying to think about how we might move forward with a terrible situation. Clearly, the proposed lease here is much better written than the 2001 agreement, but frankly, it wasn't that bad. I mean, there are obligations in that agreement for the condominium association to keep the heat and air conditioning working, just as they are in the current lease. So I'm trying to understand how we how the city is going to hold City Barns Trust accountable during this lease if it couldn't before, if the concepts are the same. And that is a sincere question, because I do think to a large extent this comes down to trust. And whether the contractual language that is not that dissimilar is going to put us in better stead. And that's the first of my questions here.
Solicitor Williams.
Councilor Duran, if you don't mind, I'm trying to figure out exactly how to best answer your question. If you can maybe narrow it. Well, let me try. So in terms of how we are going to, I suppose, hold the landlord accountable, that probably doesn't fall under my purview. I'm not sure whose that would be, but it's definitely not mine. So I don't know if Mr. Mayor, the city manager, I'm not sure who the best person would be to speak on that, but it's definitely not me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through the council. Council, we would be holding them responsible. I believe we have, and there has been challenges in the past, and whatever we can do, we've been over there, especially when it comes to heating situations. We're already talking about, I don't want to get down the rabbit hole on the heating in the great room, but we're already looking at talking about having a different way of opening those barn doors on the outside where the parking is. One of the major questions over there have been the heating issues in that great room. I think that's what you could be referring to. We've had folks look at it. I know that the trust has had their folks look at it. It's the heating system that we need to buckle down on. But opening those doors on a very regular basis doesn't help. The original intent in the building was to enter through the front side. I'm going to call it the Walgreens side, where there is a barrier when you're entering in. You enter in a pair of double doors. You go into a hallway. Then you enter another set of double doors, which would stop that from happening. I think there's something we could do on the kitchen side or the parking lot side where most of the seniors do park.
So just,
Mr. Mayor.
No one has asked you to speak, so if you could please sit down until someone recognizes you. Councilor Duran.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. I'm trying to understand, so you're saying we, which is the we who is going to implement that? Because I'm just, again, trying to tie this to the obligations in the agreement.
Manager Golden.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through the council. This discussion has been happening since even last winter. So we have been talking to the trust as well as us and trying to figure out how to accomplish that. But it just hasn't come to fruition at this time.
Understood. The question is who will be responsible for it?
Manager Golden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Under the provision, the heat would be under the trust. That would be my position.
Okay, thank you for that. So we are being asked to vote on this agreement. I know that we haven't seen all of the exhibits. There's a reference to a settlement agreement dated in December of 2025 that isn't attached. So I'm, again, struggling to get my questions answered without asking them in public, which as a former lawyer I would never normally do. But looking at the agreement, I have additional questions. So the city is obligated not to record this lease. Part of the situation we're in here is because of language that exists, doesn't exist, was recorded, not recorded. So I'm trying to understand why I was never a real estate lawyer, but I'm just trying to understand why there is an affirmative obligation on the city not to record the lease.
Solicitor Williams.
Thank you, Mr.
Trying to
Mayor.
pick the right person.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good choice. So ultimately, so this is the way it was done on the prior lease. So I think that's probably where the starting point was for this. And it was suggested that recording a notice of lease would accomplish the exact same thing. It's really not a topic that really was of much conversation once we came upon the idea of a notice of a lease because it's recorded and it will point you right to the document. So it's really not something that came up outside of that.
Okay, thank you. I think Councilor Nuon had you read Section 26 of the agreement, which does refer to the transfer ultimately of the property as a gift, but it's conditioned on full and timely payment and the city's non-exercise of the right to appropriate, subject to appropriation provision. If the city exercised that subject to appropriation provision, then there is mediation, but not if the city merely didn't pay. So I'm wondering whether that gives the buyer the right to hold non-payment over the city's head and really have an extra remedy of not transferring the property to the city when it could sue the city for damages for breach of contract. So trying to understand if there's something that needs to be tightened up there, or am I just, misreading it?
Solicitor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So if I'm understanding your question correctly, if the city were to just stop paying rent entirely, not due to a lack of appropriation or to CDBG funds, if they were still available and the city just chose not to pay, then yeah, I think the city would be in a worse off situation there. I guess I don't see that as unusual if the city just decided not to pay. I'm not sure what other remedy there would be in that scenario, if I'm understanding you correctly.
Normally there'd be a breach of contract suit for damages, and here the additional remedy is the non-transfer of the property.
Solicitor Williams.
So I'm not sure the best way to answer that. I guess I would highly encourage the city to continue paying rent if the money is available. Otherwise, it's really difficult to safeguard against that particular set of facts, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay, thank you for that. I know that there is language about the successor being bound in Section 19E of the agreement. Section 28, though, allows the landlord to sell or convey to a related business entity or relative. Is that tied up in the same provision? That it seems separate from the obligation that any successor is bound to these obligations.
Solicitor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So yes, either way, whoever stepped into the shoes of the current landlord, they are going to have to abide by the terms of the lease.
Okay, thank you. I still struggle with the fact that the condominium documents weren't created until after the lease expired. And as I had said in executive session, I find it appalling to allow someone to have not fulfilled their obligations and in a sense to get away with it. And that, so I guess I'm still struggling with ensuring that if this lease goes forward, that the city will not be in the same situation in 15 years. I know there is reference to a draft gift deed, which we have not seen. It's supposed to be, I think, attached to the lease, but we, the city council, have not seen it. So I'm trying, I think we have to do everything we can if we go forward with this lease, that we or another city council is not in this situation in 15 years. And at this point, given the evidence of what was clearly discussed in 2001, and I appreciate the city solicitor having really thought through these issues, I'm still struggling to make sure we're not in a situation where there can't be an argument to the contrary, where there can't be somebody withholding their signature in 2041. So it would be helpful to perhaps through you to the city solicitor to understand how we would not be in this situation, or that there's no chance of it.
Solicitor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think at the very least, when, putting each lease next to one another, there are a lot of similarities, but there are differences, I think, in the key and critical spots, and one of them being the clarity as to what would happen at the, in 2041, assuming the city has satisfied all of their payments and their use of the property as well. I think now a lot of the things that concern me that I have expressed to the council with, the intent and what direction we're going in now, I'm much more comfortable with the corrections that were made in the new lease. Now, it's not to say that something won't happen in 2041, as Councilor Duran, as well as anyone. People in our profession can make arguments about just about anything and make it sound pretty convincing. So I think that what we can do is basically just, get the safeguards in place that we can to put us in the best position possible. And I do think that this current lease puts us in a much, much better position.
Thank you. I guess my last statement is I really do think City Barnes has the opportunity to be magnanimous here, to live up to what was clearly the intent of the original set of documents, to gift the senior center to the city, and I wish it would consider that because, again, it would go a long way towards trust on many levels. Thank you.
Councilor Rook. Vice Mayor Nuon, if you could come take the chair for a minute, please.
Make a chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Nuon. If we all go back in time, city councilors sat in these seats in 2001 with the impression that there's a property on Broadway Street. They had some really good people who were going to help take care of our seniors, and we were going to push into the payments. We were going to take on, give away properties that were going to be offset into a lease agreement because we were going to get the property back in 20 years. Anybody who's sitting here tonight is fooling themselves. I don't care what the solicitor says. He's been wrong before, and like he said before, lawyers can come out and make anything sound convincing. He just got done saying that. We sit here, and Mr. Theodoro, Attorney Theodoro, said he quoted multiple times the lease. But for some reason, he didn't quote the piece that said gift back in 20 years. For some reason, he went away from that. This is sad to our seniors and people sitting here trying to play. What's Section 26 say of the lease? And you have it right in front of you to read. If anybody in the public believes that in all of these notes you could do that, God bless them. CDBG money. Councilor Dakota, it's not free money. Every week when I open up my check, I see this thing called federal taxes. I pay a hell of a lot more in federal taxes than I do in property tax. So let's get over what free is and what free means. It's still money that all of us put into a fund and we spend. So there's no such thing as free grants and free monies. It's taxpayers' money. And it should be spent in the proper way. For 3 years, we've seen, since September 2022, through you, Mr. Vice Mayor, to the auditor. Madam Auditor, can you make payments on anything that you don't have a contract with? Through you, Mr. Vice Mayor, to the auditor.
Madam Auditor?
No.
Oh, there's a reason why. Wow, let's look. And it took us months and months, as the manager clearly stated, of debating in executive session to get to this point. Wow, it's amazing we couldn't pay them, but we can roll it into, as one of the speakers said, into a balloon payment over 15 years that shows the amounts are excessive compared to every other lease. Why is that? Because you're paying for the back 3 years, because 30B won't allow it. I called 30B today. I'm just waiting for the return call. We reference 30B easily, and what was the reference number, Mr. Solicitor, so I read it to you correctly?
Solicitor?
Thank you. Section 1B25.
And I asked you for that in an email, right? Because I wanted to reference the same piece, right?
You did, and that's
Okay.
Go ahead.
So a contract to sell, lease, or acquire residential, institutional, industrial, or commercial real property by the public or quasi-public economic development agency or urban renewal agency engaged in the development, we got that right, development, and disposition of said real property in accordance with a plan approved by the appropriate authorizing authority. This body never authorized anything, and it says clearly in it, the city council has to authorize that. So it was never really authorized. And the original one was when they were actually redeveloping it back in 2001, so it could be used at that point. And you could skirt 30Bs, but I'll wait for the ruling as you shake your head because you've been wrong already before with executive sessions and everything. So we're going to sit here and we're going to go back and forth on things. In this, it's an incomplete document that we got on Friday for Tuesday. We have never, ever seen this document before Friday. In any executive session, I want the public to understand that. We've never seen this, any document in this, so we've had no position to negotiate pieces in or out of this document. Nothing at all. It's an incomplete document that we've been provided. It doesn't even have the full exhibits. How do you vote on something that you don't have the full exhibits? And vote positive. We don't know how many parking spots. Over there, we fight on parking spots all the time. And now we don't have the number of parking spots because there's going to be a development in the area, and I would love to see that piece prior to doing any of this. That just makes sense. To put a city in position that's going to make sense for our seniors. You read through these things, and it gives basically the manager all the authority to execute all documents necessary. It says execute and deliver any and all other documents related to the lease of said property on such terms and conditions as he deems in the best interest of the city. So this piece of paper doesn't really mean much if the manager can do that. And then we have people referencing the lease, but they don't really want to adhere to the lease because back then we shook hands with people that we really trusted. And you can go back to any newspaper, any video that was done at that time, and you clearly can see the people who are before us today were gifting this to the city. It was clear. There's no gray area. This council has an obligation to sit here and say, let's put it up. We have one attorney who had 6 attorneys. I don't know how many real estate attorneys. I have no idea what their backgrounds are. I don't know anything about any of them. And quite frankly, I think it is the obligation of this body to hire an outside attorney to represent the city council and the seniors. It just doesn't make sense. Everything that has gone on has been questionable at best. We sat in executive sessions with no documents in front of us for multiple meetings. The time the documents were supposed to be up on the screen, they didn't. And now we sit here and we're saying, okay, let's take a vote on something that we really aren't clear on. Not one person at that head table would do a vote like this if they were in our positions. Not one. Because you guys analyze every piece, I would hope, especially a CFO. I hope that we go through every document before we decide to pay. And it's only fair on our end to do the same thing. I would like to make a motion that the city council would hire an attorney to review these documents and make sure that we're putting this city in the right position.
Second.
Mr. Mayor, was that motion filed by Councilor Robinson and failed, an independent councilor?
That was to table something. I'm not tabling anything. I'm just asking you to
Motion
hire
by
an attorney
Councilor, the Mayor Kachia and second by Councilor Robinson.
to look over these and make sure that all the legal documents are what they say, especially at the registry where it says, as Councilor Duran highlighted, that it refers to other things. What is the difference? Why shouldn't we protect these seniors in this position? And I just think it's fair, that's all, and it clears everything. So that's the motion I would like to make.
Yep, I think Councilor Rook has his hand up.
Just out of curiosity, what was KP Law's involvement in this? Do they have any suggestion, do they have any say or opinion in this at all? Do we have any outside agencies that look into it at all? I know there was a reference in the executive session that the IG's office should be called, which was after the fact.
Through me to you, citizens, go ahead. Do you have any response?
Sure. So we do have KP Law on retainer for certain outside matters that.
The motion is for an independent selected by the city council.
Okay.
And I would refer that to the people who would screen them would be the personnel or auditor subcommittee, whatever one it is.
And second by Councilor Robinson. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilor Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke. Councilor Rourke, sorry.
No.
Councilor Scott.
No.
Councilor Chow.
No.
Councilor Dakota.
No.
Mayor Getchia.
Yes.
Councilor Duran.
Yes.
Councilor Liang.
Yes.
Councilor McDonough.
Yes.
Councilor Mercia. Councilor Noon.
No.
I would say, Mr. Vice Mayor, at this time, you're going to be in a deadlock for the next vote, so it's going to be an interesting night. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Move the question, Mr. Vice Mayor. Move the question, please.
I'll wait for the mayor to come take the vote.
Move the question, Mr. Clerk. Roll call.
Point of order, doesn't moving the question require a second and then a majority vote?
2/3 vote, I believe.
Six votes. There's no motion before us.
Motion by Councilor Rourke to move the vote. Is there a second?
Yeah, just for clarification, I think a councilor asked a question. 6 votes to pass, correct? Or was it 8?
There's no motion to adopt this yet.
Yeah. Mr. Solicitor.
Right. No, the motion already voted down.
There's a motion by
already voted down.
Councilor Rourke to move the question. Is there a second on the motion? Councilor Scott second. Councilor Rourke has a question to the city solicitor. What is the vote total to make this pass?
On a move to question, it's a 2/3 vote.
Excuse me?
2/3?
Okay. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilor Robinson.
No.
Councilor Rourke.
Yes.
Councilor Scott.
Yes.
Councilor Chow.
Yes.
Councilor Dakota.
Yes.
Councilor Getchia. Mayor Getchia.
Yes.
Councilor Duran.
No.
Councilor Liang.
No.
Councilor McDonough.
No.
Councilor Mercia. Councilor Noon.
Yes.
It's only 6.
Motion fails. Does anybody have any more they want to speak on this topic? So we're going to move the vote anyway.
I need a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Councilor Scott, seconded by Councilor Rourke.
Councilor Robinson.
This is on the actual vote that's on the agenda?
Yeah,
No.
the actual vote.
Councilor Rourke.
Yes.
Councilor Scott.
Yes.
Councilor Chow.
Yes.
Councilor Dakota.
Yes.
Mayor Getchia.
No.
Councilor Duran.
No.
Councilor Liang.
No.
Councilor McDonough.
No.
Councilor Mercia. Councilor Noon.
Yes.
Failed.
Motion fails. We're going to go back to the regular portion of the meeting. 6, communications from the city manager. 6.1, motion response, climate change competition. Mayor Getchia. Mr. Manager, thank you for your response. Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Duran, seconded by Councilor Chow.
Please note my abstention.
6.1B, motion response, letter on rodenticide, House 965 and House 4266 by Mayor Getchia. Thank you, Assistant City Manager Machado, for your good response. Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor McDonough, seconded by Councilor Liang. 6.1C, motion response, dumpsters and trash bins on sidewalks. Councilor McDonough.
I want to, Mr. Mayor, through you, I want to thank wholeheartedly the city manager and the assistant city manager for their prompt attention to that one particular incident. I did have several residents reach out and also express thanks, and so I want to make sure I pass that along to the manager and assistant manager. I would be remiss if I did not ask if we could, just as a side note, there are a lot of trash barrels that I know Mr. Panos is interested in seeing moved on Shattuck Street. It was an issue during the snowstorm, but thank you very much for this.
Thank you, Councilor McDonough. Seeing no one else, motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Nuon, seconded by Councilor Mercier. 6.2, information report. Information report, Cambodia Town TDI. Mr. Manager?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through you to the council. This is a very exciting opportunity. And I want to thank Giovanni Baez-Rose as well as Mr. Espedia from DPD. This is really an exciting opportunity. I know that Cambodia Town, the TDI, we've seen so much excitement what's happening up in the Acre section, just right up the street from us, with all the excitement that's happening up there. This is an opportunity. This is something coming forth. And I also want to say thank you to our friends in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts from Mass Development. They looked at this. This was something that really there were a lot of communities going after, and I really believe that this is going to be a lot of excitement for our Cambodia Town and for all of the citizens. So I want to say thank you, and if there's any questions that anybody has, and a big thank you to our DPD folks. This was really hard to get. These pieces with TDI are not easy, and it's really a really big celebration. So congratulations again to DPD and the city.
Councilor Nuon. Councilor Chow.
I could defer to you first, please.
Councilor Nuon. Councilor Chow. Councilor Nuon.
Okay, sounds like everybody wants to talk, but nobody want to go first. And I think Councilor Nuon and I probably have the same comments, and not questions, but probably comments that could lead to questions and answers. First of all, I want to thank the administration and Giovanni for the wonderful job of getting 2 TDI projects in the city. I think most other gateway cities, they would be lucky to qualify for one, but we have 2 TDI projects and in 2 very meaningful neighborhoods in the Acre and the Lower Highlands. Really the 2 communities that could use this project the most. So I want to thank you for that, and the previous councilors and Councilor Kim Scott and Councilor Nuon did talk about this and ask for this to move forward when we qualify for the Acre TDI project. If you could just give us an outline a little bit about the TDI in Cambodia Town, and also I know this is just the beginning and a lot of works that need to be done, but just briefly what that entail. And I know that the person is going to be working on it is probably still in the work by Mass Development. And also I know that TDI in the Acre, it's been a few years now. It's probably done, but if you could give us an update on that as well, how's that going? I know I'm very excited when that's complete, but everything that I've heard so far in the Acre has been going fantastic.
Assistant City Manager Baez-Rose.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I'd be happy to talk about both the successes of the existing TDI in the Acre and what we hope to accomplish in Cambodia Town. So the TDI program is one that is run by Mass Development, as the manager had said. Essentially, communities can apply to them for a concentrated area in the city to try to get assistance or support on a variety of programs. And so the way the system works is that Mass Development, essentially communities identify locations where they're looking to create a TDI. And then if accepted through the program, Mass Development actually hires a full-time staff person that their full-time job paid for by Mass Development is to work within the district and to try to connect the district to the various resources and tools that Mass Development has available to it. So our first TDI was the Upper Merrimack Street TDI. That was the 3rd application we had submitted. So it is a very competitive process. We had been rejected twice previously for different locations, and we were successful with the Upper Merrimack Street ask. That essentially pulled together a partnership of different organizations that work in the acre. So Jeanne d'Arc, Lowell Plan, Coalition for a Better Acre, for example, UMass Lowell, and the city. We all sort of worked on this partnership together and worked with the Mass Development Fellow. And the program has been very successful. They've been able to give out $200,000 in small business grants, things to like purchase equipment and make improvements within some of our acre businesses. We've been able to do $300,000 improvement just right outside on Cardinal O'Connell to create that really nice patio for 2 of those businesses. That was all grant funded. We're able to do $100,000 worth of public art in and around the acre and create what is known now as Taste the Acre, a sort of walking tour and a food tour of the neighborhood, which now has the structure in place that will sort of survive beyond just the existing Mass Development Fellow. So as the acres TDI timeline is kind of coming up in the next few months, that program is formally going to phase out and that we aren't going to have a full-time Mass Development Fellow working in the neighborhood anymore. But the partners are still committed to working together in those conversations about sort of extending that work over time continues to this day. So we're really excited about the progress we were able to make in the acre and assume that we're going to be able to continue a lot of those partnerships. For this last round, Mass Development Approach, the city had some recommendations about things that we should consider before we applied. And we felt like the Cambodia town sort of identity, the fact that it's an existing really vibrant commercial district already in the city, has a lot of investment that the city is already making, has a lot of small business owners, a lot of nonprofit representation already built in. We felt like it was a really compelling location for a new TDI. And so that's essentially what pushed us to move forward with the request. So how this works is we just found out, which is really exciting, Mass Development will put out an RFP to hire fellows. Once they get that sort of potential pool of applicants, we will essentially, the partnership, so the city, the Cambodia town, CMAA, will be able to decide who's going to represent us at the sort of interviews, and we're given an opportunity to do a meet and greet with all of the people who are fellows. For a lack of a better way to describe it, I sort of describe it a little bit as speed dating. You meet the person, you talk about what they're interested in, you talk about what you want to see in your district, and then you essentially rank the fellows in the order that you like them, and they rank the cities in order of which ones they want to work in, and Mass Development works to try to pair the fellows with the communities as best as they can. We had a really successful pairing last time, and so I anticipate that'll happen again. So that's sort of the next step. Mass Development needs to do some work now to try to solicit fellows and people to be interested in this. And then when they have the fellows in place, they'll reach out to us and we'll work on trying to meet with them and hopefully find somebody that'll be a good fit for this new district.
Councilor Nuon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Like Councilor Chow and Councilor Ling and the rest of the council, I'm very excited with the 3-year project with the TDI. This is an addition to what the city is doing. Phase 1 of Roberto Clemente Park is just about to complete. I met with the fellow that work and the team from Clemente Committee last week. That the fellow that work on the project at the acre. And just like you said, Assistant City Manager Giovanni Roses, that fellows indicated that they're searching for a fellow to work on at the Cambodian town area. And some of the players already in place. You mentioned CMAA, Cambodian town, Roberto Clemente committees, and others that are involved with this 3-year project. We're excited about the gateway, not to Chinatown, but to Cambodian town, could happen in the next years or 2. So I'm very, very excited with this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Nuon. Motion.
Mr. Mayor?
Yep. Councilor Yang, I'm sorry.
I guess if I don't say something, it wouldn't be nice. I mean, it's in the acre. I mean, all a part of Lower Highland. And I just want to say it's an honor and thank you to your team. From my former employers, I've been working a lot, Lowell Community Health Center, working with the CMAA, CBAs. So I know this program pretty well, but this is an opportunity to see actually it's come to fruition. And in addition, this project will help extend this cultural education, language, heritage to the next generation. So it means a lot to me, representing the district, as well as the Cambodian who sit here and look at this proposal and this program that's happening within the next 3 years, that my kid and the generation to come can see what is happening in Cambodia town. So in addition to that, I would extend that listening to some of the elders to see some of the program and some of the pure Cambodian knowledge that that can be found or be hidden, and beside the NGOs or the community-based organization. But thank you so much. This is an honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Yang. Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Liang. 6.3, communication has been pulled from the agenda. 6.4, communication, city manager requests approval of out-of-state travel. 1, Assessors Department. Motion to adopt, Councilor Duran, seconded by Councilor Dakota. Roll call.
Councilor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilor Rourke.
Yes.
Councilor Scott.
Yes.
Councilor Chow.
Yes.
Councilor Dakota.
Yes.
Mayor Getchia.
Yes.
Councilor Duran.
Yes.
Councilor Liang.
Yes.
Councilor McDonough.
Yes.
Councilor Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Noon. 10 years.
10 yeas. 7, vote from the city manager. 7.1, vote, accept, expend $138,600 MCC grant. Case, waive full reading and second reading by title. Vote authorizing the city manager on behalf of the city of Lowell to accept and expend funds in the total amount of $138,600 from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts via the Massachusetts Cultural Council, MCC. Motion to accept. A motion to adopt, Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Mercia. Roll call.
Councilor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilor Rourke.
Yes.
Councilor Scott.
Yes.
Councilor Chow.
Yes.
Councilor Dakota.
Yes.
Mayor Getchia.
Yes.
Councilor Duran.
Yes.
Councilor Liang.
Yes.
Councilor McDonough.
Yes.
Councilor Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Noon.
Mr. Mayor,
Motion passed. Councilor Scott.
can we bundle 7.4 to 7.7?
I have 7.2 next.
Oh, sorry. 7.2, 7.4, 7.5, 7.6, 7.7.
Motion to bundle 7.2, 7.4, 7.5, 7.6, and 7.7 by Councilor Scott, seconded by Councilor Rourke. 7.2, vote, accept, expend $15,000 cultural district grant. 7.4, vote authorizing city manager execute net metering credit sales agreement. 7.5, vote authorizing city manager to send notice of hearing 48 Kinsman Street. 7.6, vote establish school bus violation stabilization fund. 7.7, vote transfer 189,000 demolitions.
I need to recuse myself because of the school bus vote.
Okay, 7.7, please list Mr. McDonough as
7.6.
The packets. Motion to adopt by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Rourke. Roll call.
Can we have discussion or not?
We can, yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Councilor Duran.
Thank you. Let's see, because they're bundled. I'll start with 7.4. Ms. Moses is here, and through you, Mr. Mayor, if she could give a quick summary, and then I've got just a couple of quick questions for her.
Mrs. Moses, if you could give us a summary, please.
Yes, I'd be happy to do that. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So this vote will allow us to enter into a long-term contract with solar development projects across the Commonwealth. These will not only add additional solar and renewable energy into our Massachusetts grid, helping the Commonwealth to meet its emission reduction goals, but they're also going to be significant savings for the city of Lowell. I did a very thorough analysis of all of our 387 electrical accounts. I looked at changes in usage patterns due to additions of equipment, due to energy efficiency, due to behind-the-meter solar development. I looked at our individual existing net metering credit agreements, which have saved us $4.1 million over the last 12 and a half years. I looked at all of the different factors that could change. I think that we can absorb the credits that are embodied in the net metering credit agreement vote, and it should save us anywhere from $600,000 to $900,000 a year on our utility costs, depending on the value of the net metering credit when it comes online in 2027. We think the average will probably be closer to $750,000.
And Ms. Moses, thank you. That's very helpful. So we will be buying these credits at a discount, and somehow that saves us money. That's the part that I struggled with.
Yeah, I'm sorry, through the mayor to Councilor. So I have always heard this example. It's kind of like buying a $100 Walmart gift card for $85. We get the full value of the credit, but we're only paying 85% of the cost on it because these credits include a 15% discount. And that's where you get the significant savings that I was referencing earlier.
And is there any way that we can be out of pocket, that there is some risk to the city?
There really is no risk. The only variability that you'll have is depending on the solar production and the net metering credit value. Obviously, I think our solar production for February of 2026 will likely be down given the weather that we've had. That would just mean that you would be on the savings end closer to the 600,000, perhaps lower, depending on what the significance is. If it overproduces or if the net metering credit is value is higher, it just means we would accumulate greater savings, but we're always going to be paying less for the credits than the credits are worth. So I don't see any risk to the city.
Thank you. I have a question on some of the others, but thank you, Ms. Moses. The items 7.5 and 7.7 about 48 Kinsman Street and 290 Branch Street. So the money that would be transferred in 7.7 would be to demolish both buildings, if I understand it correctly. And yet we're just putting 48 Kinsman on notice now. So trying to understand sort of the timing of that, just to figure out how that works.
City Clerk.
Council, the demolition for 48 Kinsman will be put on for a public hearing on March 10th.
CFO Baldwin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think if I may add to the clerk's description, we've already noticed the other property, and so it's not required for 290 Branch Street. The matter, so what happened and what led us to these votes is we appropriated funding for 290 Branch Street and another parcel in the Pawtucketville neighborhood, whose exact address? On 7th Ave. And we put out a bid for the demolition, and the cost came in excess of the money that was appropriated, and so we were only able to demolish one of two properties. Both were noticed previously, and so now with the sale of 93 Mammoth Road, the old firehouse, we have sufficient funds in the sale of city property special revenue fund, and in order to continue our quality of life, neighborhood improvement, blight reduction program, we are looking to demolish 2 additional properties. The funding is there, but we do need to advertise the notice on 48 Kinsman. So I hope that provides us.
Yeah, no, that's helpful. So obviously, if they somehow come back with a remedy to the problem, we wouldn't be demolishing it. It's just the timing of the two things, okay, that I wanted to understand. And is there a way for the city to get back the cost of demolition through liens and other things, or is this out of pocket?
CFO Baldwin?
Yes, that's a very good question. We will attach a demolition lien to the property. This is something the city does with some frequency, and when the property is sold, the city will be made whole for the cost for demolition.
Okay, thank you. And then lastly, on 7.6, the school bus violation stabilization fund. So I just want to understand the procedural posture about, is this identical to the vote last week? And if so, how does it come back? And I think there were some questions I had from last week, but first maybe understanding how we're here.
CFO Baldwin?
Sorry, the video's blocking your face, Mr. Mayor. So this was a companion piece to the other two votes that were taken previously. We were unable to reach the quantum of votes required to pass the stabilization fund, but it is a three-part or three-pronged approach to this this new program with the school buses and the cameras. So to establish a fund for the fees, which were created by ordinance at the last, I believe it was the last meeting, but recently. This fund, if the council approves it, will be established. The funds will be automatically deposited into the fund as they are received. And so it is a special purpose stabilization fund, but requires a vote of the council to establish it. In order to appropriate the funds out of it, it would likewise require a vote of the council.
Thank you. And so the goal for this fund is to use the money that's acquired from fining people for running the school bus lights, to use it for special education transportation costs, if I remember, or if I remember what I read correctly. And is that, but so that money will be kind of allocated towards those costs, but I'm assuming that our costs might be higher than what the fund achieves in terms of revenue. And so this is not a fund where we can only spend what's in that money, what's in that fund for the purpose of special ed. That is, if the transportation costs are higher, we have to augment those costs from other sources, correct?
City Manager Golden.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, it can be used for things more broadly, which is written into the vote. So out-of-district special ed transportation is one eligible cost, as are fuel and maintenance for the fleet, as well as traffic enforcement for the police department to enforce the rules, et cetera. These are all eligible costs. But to your question, yes, this is to help mitigate the cost to the operating budget. There is a significant cost already that is rising. This will help offset that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Duran. Councilor Robinson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Real quick, on that fund that we're creating for the stabilization, is that what the bills will be paid as well to the vendor, whoever's awarded the contract? Because it was explained that there's a $250 per bus charge with one of the vendors per month. And basically, if you look at the data that they're seeing, it's some buses will have as many as 25 to 40 violations per month. And so, say we had 50 buses, we are required, well, the cost would only be $250 per bus, and that's only if violations are issued. But would this be the account that any of those fees would be paid from?
CFO Baldwin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The short answer to your question is yes. There is a procedural manner in which we must do this because it's a special purpose stabilization fund. So the answer to your question is yes, but the receipts will go into the fund. They can't be, bills can't be paid directly from the fund. So I want to set a distinction. It's not like a revolving fund. So it does require an appropriation from the city council in order to be used for those, but that is an eligible cost and likely will be used to offset any fees that would be associated with the program, administering the program, et cetera, from the company or any company that the city were to choose to administer it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Robinson. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilor Robinson?
Yes.
Counsel Rook.
Yes.
Counsel Scott.
Yes.
Counsel Chow.
Yes.
Counsel Dakota.
Yes.
Counsel, Mayor Getchia.
Yes.
Counsel Duran.
Yes.
Counsel Liang.
Yes.
Counsel McDonough. Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Counsel Noon.
Yes.
10 yeas.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. 8, reports. 8.1, wire inspector reports. National Grid. National Grid request installation of one JO pole at 1158 Gorham Street, one SO pole at Middlesex Street and Wood Street, one JO pole at 9 to 11 Columbia Street, one JO pole at 15 West Meadow Road, one JO pole at 316 Mammoth Road, one JO pole at 308 Stevens Street, one JO pole at 145 Pawtucket Street, one JO pole at 557 Varnum Ave, 2 SO poles at 1170 Gorham Street, 5 JO poles at Middlesex Street and Edward Street, and 1 SO pole at 12 Wood Street. Motion to accept and adopt the accompanying order by Councilor Noon, seconded by Councilor Dakota. Roll call.
No roll call needed.
No roll call. 9, City Council Executive Session. 9.1, Executive Session regarding litigation, update public discussion of which could have a detrimental effect on the city's position. Motion to enter executive session, adjourned from executive session by Councilor McDonough, seconded by Councilor Liang. Roll call.
Counsel Robinson.
Yes.
Counsel Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Scott.
Yes.
Counsel Chow.
Yes.
Counsel Dakota.
Yes.
Mayor Getchia.
Yes.
Counsel Duran.
Yes.
Counsel Liang.
Yes.
Counsel McDonough.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Counsel Noon.
10, announcements. We have Winterfest this weekend, Mr. Manager. Would you like to announce that? Or
PM?
Mr. Roche?
Okay, we'll be there.
Thank you. Yes, this weekend on Saturday is Winterfest. It begins at 12 p.m. noon and runs through 10 p.m. We've got 3 tents this year. It is the kickoff to the bicentennial as well. So we have some exciting activations. We've got Buddy Velastro, the cake boss, is going to be here. We've got a cake tent that is showcasing 13 different local bakeries, and it's free and open to the public, so please come enjoy that. There will be curling activities, there's a music tent, there's an art vendor market. We've got Market Street is going to be full of food trucks and activations there as well. We've got ice sculptures, fire sculptures, all kinds of things. So we hope that you can come out and enjoy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
We will be heading into executive session after
One more
Councilor Chow
announcement.
speaks. Councilor Chow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I could not let this opportunity pass up. We have the boss, Councilor Singer, going to be playing at the Gusto 7 p.m. Saturday. So, he might not sound well in the city council, but he sings fantastic.
I have Councilor Scott, Mercy, and Duran doing the backup singing, so should be a treat.
You're in trouble then.
Councilor Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I believe, if I can just find this real quick, this Sunday, upcoming Sunday, they're going to be having Sunday, March 1st at 11 a.m. Join Top Donut at 700 Aiken Street for a coffee and donut social. Come here, update, share your thoughts, and be part of shaping what the space becomes for the neighborhood. And it's all about the St. Louis Sponge Park. And so again, that's this Sunday, March 1st at 11 a.m. Feel free to stop in, and your input is desperately looked for. Thank you.
Sounds like a fun week full of donuts and cake.
Have a good day.